train, Jaipur via Kota.
कृपया ध्यान आपको अहमदाबाद
दिल्ली में आपका स्वागत.
Lucknow Junction.
ನಿಲ್ದಾಣದ ಕಡೆಗೆ ಹೊರಟಿರುವ ರೈಲು
एक्सप्रेस পরবর্তী স্টেশন নেতাজি ভবন कृपया ध्यान दियो.
Hello and welcome to Cricbuzz Live. Look, I'm not sure about you guys, but I certainly haven't been experiencing any of that final over thriller hangover because, I mean, when do you experience a hangover? When you bring an end to the festivities, you go off to sleep, you wake up the following morning and smell the coffee, literally as well as metaphorically. But when you get a bottomless supply of entertainment in the form of final over thrillers every single day, then, you're always in high spirits. There's no crash after that. And speaking of high spirits, I'm delighted to be joined on Cricbuzz Live by two sprightly men, Joy Dada and Polly Kaka. Dada, Kaka, welcome to the show.
Hi, good to be here again, back again, and that for a long weekend, so it's a good one. Double headers I always enjoy.
And you've joined us on a very auspicious day, Shubho Borsho. Shubho Borsho to you as well and to our viewers as well.
So Shubho Borsho and Vishu as well, and a variety, I think it's a Marathi New Year as well. So yes, it's a harvest festival all over India. It's a Borsho all over India.
Is that why you got the yellow shirt on today?
It's a random pick. But speaking of my shirt and my attire, I have to thank a styling partner, H&M, for making me look the part, dress the part. In terms of high spirits, I can definitely not compete with both of you, but I'd like to think that when it comes to my styling, I'm in the same league, but only when it comes to my styling.
Anyone who's in the same league as styling as me is not in a good place. You're probably far ahead. I'd have to say that.
That's just Joyda's self-deprecating sense of humor. Joyda being very humble. But speaking of being in the same league, you've got two teams in the same league for the wrong reasons. Bangalore as well as Delhi. Bangalore with a solitary win so far this season. Delhi winless. Both teams playing at the Chinnaswamy, desperate for a win.
Yeah, really desperate for a win. Of course, Delhi's need is even more than RCB's is. But look at that points table and tells you a really sorry story. I mean, Delhi, and the point of it was that Mumbai, a lot of people had doubts about Mumbai. Bangalore was definitely supposed to be a top 4 pick. A lot of pick. But Delhi was a top 4 pick for so many people because they looked at that top 6 of that batting order and they said, this team has to do well. This is it's a really strong batting order. And if Mitch Marsh can bowl a couple of overs for them with Nokia there, Akshar Patel, Kuldeep Yadav, they had everything. They had fast bowling, they had all-rounders. So this 0-4 start is something that they could not have imagined in their worst.
Yeah. Not to mention the fact that both teams are slightly wounded because both teams ended up losing a very close encounter in their respective last matches. Bangalore against Lucknow and Delhi against Mumbai.
Yeah, and they both would have been desperate for victories, weren't they, because of the situation. I mean, you don't often see those three names at the bottom. I mean, in the history of the RPL, you don't see them. And it's desperate times for Delhi because you look, so they've lost 4. They've got, 10 more games to go. The worst case scenario, and to be lucky to qualify, you have to kind of win 7. So that means they've got to win 7 of their last 10 and then probably rely on net run rate, which isn't good at this stage. So, yeah, it's not good signs for them, and they will be absolutely desperate. I mean, they'll be ticking all the boxes. They'll be making sure. We were just chatting off air, though. Mumbai had it in 2014, it was, Joy, where they had lost their first 5.
Lost the first 5,
and managed to qualify. Who did they bring
KKR
back?
as well the same year, right, Joy? In 2014, and then, of course, in 2021 as well.
KKR was 2 and 5, from which they won 9 in a row and 1.
Right.
But they had it, at that stage, it was some of the tournament happened in Abu Dhabi and Dubai.
That's right.
They ended up flying who to come across after losing the first few games? Ricky Ponting. So he's been in this scenario before and he's managed to get his team to qualify. That was for Mumbai. It will be interesting to see if he can do it here for Delhi.
Absolutely. And regardless of how perilous the situations might be, some of these champion cricketers know how to reframe obstacles as opportunities. They might have their backs against the wall, but they feel the only way in which they can move is forward. They might be down in the dumps and they feel the only direction in which they can move is up. And one such man of platinum is Virat Kohli, who certainly faced a lot of hardship throughout his life. He has bottomless supplies of energy. I remember Harsha Bhogle once saying, if you plug Virat Kohli, you'll never have a power shortage. But I think that's not the only reason as to why he's a man of platinum. He exemplifies perseverance combined with self-belief. And both of them make for a lethal combination. Joy, they call Virat the Cristiano Ronaldo of cricket. I think there's a case to call Cristiano the Virat Kohli of football.
Absolutely. And I just take you back. I'll tell you a few things, why we consider him literally a man of platinum. I mean, you look at season 2008, he is the top pick. Okay, he is the top pick. He's actually the second pick because Delhi actually has a chance to pick him. Doesn't take him. He's a captain of the under 19 team, winning captain, and he's like everyone says Virat is the man. What happens? Firstly, his team wins 2 matches out of 14. Bangalore had a horrific season. And what happens with him? 165 runs. That's it. He scores 165 runs that entire season at a strike rate of 105. So this is the Virat Kohli. This is Virat Kohli 1.0.
Yeah.
Then it goes to 246. Then it goes to 307. Then it goes to 557. Then comes back to 364. And then the Virat takes off. Absolutely.
Yeah.
So what I'm saying is this did not happen overnight. And look at him this tournament, the whole IPL record, just look at it. 129, but if you see that strike rate of 129, it's like a curve. In the beginning it was low, and the last couple of years he's not done well. In the middle, in that 2013, 14, 15, 16,
Right.
17, 18, 19,
Right.
it's probably the greatest
Right.
display, that 900 odd runs that he scored. Almost
973
1,000.
in
That's
2016.
Unbelievable.
That was
Absolutely
That
unbelievable.
was his platinum year, wasn't it? Yeah. But he has had to be a man of platinum, even currently. As of late, it's been well documented, his performances since 2020. He's struggled and he hasn't really been able to hit the heights that he's wanted to. And he's had to show that resilience and perseverance to come back. And it's good to see him playing well, that he's played well this tournament so far. Obviously, I think his self-belief will be a little bit higher now too, that he's got some runs under the belt. And the way he played, some of the shots he played the other night, it looked like he was back to his best.
It's a great thing. Rohan, in fact, we were talking about it, Rohan Gavaskar and me. And he said something which is, I think, very true. He said, the best time to have a really big slump is in the middle of your career. Okay, because the start of your career, if you have a big slump, you're never going to, the career ends out.
You're never going to kick on.
Yeah. Yeah.
You have it towards the end of your career, in your late 30s, and you're there, you wouldn't get more opportunities because there's no point investing in this guy anymore. Virat was at that age and fitness where they looked at him and they turned around and said, there's still a lot to give. He has 5, 7, 8 good
Right.
years. So we've got to give him a chance to play his way out of
Right.
it.
Right.
Otherwise, he's had a really, there are a lot of people, given the same situation, would not have had the opportunity Virat did.
Yeah.
And he got it because he was so good before and they knew that he still had a lot to give back.
Yeah.
So those 3 years were tough for him.
Yeah.
2.5, 3 years were very, very tough for him because
Yeah.
forget about the runs. Virat also didn't bat like the Virat Kohli that we
Yeah,
know,
yeah,
And
yeah.
that's something that you can see. This season, even last year he got some runs, but he looked occasionally like the man we knew him to be.
Absolutely.
This is the year that you're seeing him. There's something called, imperiousness.
Yeah, yeah.
When he stands up and says, okay, I'm going to hit this, and that Virat is back now. And Bangalore really need him actually to be that Virat.
Absolutely. You spoke about his fitness. I still remember the story about this man of platinum. This was the 2012 season of the IPL, and he had a shocking start to the season. He was coming into the season with good form playing for India, but I remember he just woke up one morning, looked himself in the mirror, wasn't proud of what he saw, wasn't proud of his lifestyle, and that's it. Cold turkey, just quit all his vices and then embarked upon a radical fitness transformation.
Absolutely. Yeah. Even Virat's nickname when he grew up was Chiku. So Chiku is a cute boy in North India, Punjabi. Nice, chubby cheeks. Chubby cheeks, Chiku. So you look at Virat and said that guy was called Chiku.
Yeah, yeah.
And you can make out, the journey he's taken.
Yeah,
You're absolutely right.
100%. And I think, we barely scratched the surface in terms of stories, tales and anecdotes that make this man a man of platinum. We could go on and on, but you let us know who your man of platinum is. Connect with us across all our social media platforms and stay tuned for more such contests pertaining to men of platinum. Now, the news from the middle is that Delhi have won the toss at the Chinnaswamy Stadium. It's a day game, but they will be bowling first, which means that a man of platinum, Virat Kohli, will be coming out to bat. So why not kick things off with Virat Kohli and his partner in crime, Faf du Plessis, both of them in stellar form, complementing each other like wine and cheese, like Netflix and chill.
Netflix and chill, wine and cheese. I just want to say the start is not going to be, look, this is the problem with they've got runs. But their standard problem is how many runs are enough to defend. And they haven't had a day game, I think, at the Chinnaswamy. So they wouldn't have a great idea of how this pitch will play out. I have a sense that they're going to probably tell you, saying anything below 200 is not on. They just have to get above that, which means press the accelerator up front, and Rajat Patidar not being there is one crucial part which they're missing out on. Shahbaz Ahmed has not yet got going with the bat. So the middle order, somewhere there, they know that those top three have to do more and not leave too much for DK and Kang to do in the end. So there'll be a pressure on up front as well.
Absolutely.
Also, I think the Chinnaswamy, when you look at that surface, I mean, there's probably, when you chase on that ground, there's probably 6 or 10 game plans that you can put in place and win. In order to defend on that ground, there's probably one. Everyone has to be, they're bowling their best and they have to do everything they possibly can. And someone like a Chahal has to have a man of the match performance when he used to play there. So I think that isn't Eliza chance. It's a little bit like playing at the Wanderers. It's such a hard ground to defend on because the ball flies, a little bit of altitude, small, good surface. We only saw the 1 year in the Chinnaswamy where the surface, I think before they changed it, where it was a little bit up and down and was difficult. But besides that, what a lovely place to bat.
Yeah.
And that is the challenge. So when you do have to bat first, you always look and think, oh, gosh, okay, what do we have to do to make sure that we give ourselves enough of a buffer at the back end?
Yeah, and both of them, they've gotten the team off to a solid start, and we'll get to the combination. But before that, just quickly going through Bangalore's playing 11. So you've got Faf du Plessis, Virat Kohli, the two men we spoke about, Glenn Maxwell, Mahipal Lomror, Dinesh Karthik, Shahbaz Ahmed. A couple of changes, big news. Wanindu Hasaranga slots into the playing 11 after having played that series against New Zealand. We have Vijay Kumar Vaishak as well, Harshal Patel, Wayne Parnell, Mohammad Siraj. And so David Willey sitting this one out, making way for Wanindu Hasaranga. A good addition to the squad.
They got our email. From last night. Yeah, they got the email from last night. We told them they had to make that change.
You see, I wasn't lying to you when I said the email had been sent.
No, absolutely. Hasaranga coming in is hugely important. And again, as Polly was saying, for a surface that they say is for fast bowlers, I mean, he is the man. I mean, last season, of course, he didn't play the Chinnaswamy. But look at those numbers. I mean, just missed out on purple cap. He was the closest, I think, to Chahal. He was second to Chahal. And that economy rate, they wouldn't be worried about. I mean, just look at that, strike rate of 13.15. He's a brilliant, brilliant performer. And they really need him because this is a surface that the fast bowlers have not done much with. Actually, the spinners have done decently. So if they put up that total, it's him and Shahbaz Ahmed who will put the real pressure. Mind you, I am saying this is Vishak, okay, is somebody that I really, really rate because I think brilliant fast bowler coming up in the season, he has everything. So people who've been watching Karnataka cricket for a long time, domestic cricket for a long time, they say that this kid is the next big thing. So, it was very interesting that he's finally got an opportunity. I'm really looking forward to seeing.
You've got me excited now. I want to watch and see. I want to watch
he's an interesting guy to watch. The other thing I was looking at is that looks like for some reason that looked like a bowling 11 to me. Can we have that put up again?
Yeah.
They are batting, right?
They're batting first. So Delhi won the toss. They've chosen to bowl.
So who comes in as their replacement?
That's what I'm thinking. Because you
typically have Anuj Rawat in that starting 11 if they were batting first.
Yeah, that's what I'm thinking. They're missing a bat because they could easily put in another bat and then substitute in Vishak as a bowler. I'm just very curious. This looks like a bowling. See, you have straight 5 bowlers out here plus Shahbaz. You have 6 bowlers out here. Okay. And after that, Maxwell. So 6.5 bowlers, maybe Romroads, maybe 7 bowlers totally. This is a bowling 11.
Maxwell.
Yeah, I would say the batting 11 would have Vishak out and somebody else
Anuj
batting.
Rawat probably who's
batting.
Yeah, but we'll definitely get confirmation of that. But we do know.
All the batsmen with all the captains with all those papers, you never know.
It gets confusing. Yeah, it must be a nightmare for the captains. Which team sheet should I be handing in?
There's a team sheet and then there's a substitute sheet. Impact players sheet. Both of which you've got to get right. So I don't know whether he's got that right or not. And then he's done it. He says, okay, it's done now.
Exactly.
Don't mess it up. I think the point about Hasaranga, just going back to him a little bit, is that when a new batter comes to the crease, if you've got him bowling, there's 3 or 4 balls where they're kind of trying to pick him and he can maybe have an impact. On that surface, when you've got fast bowlers, when you first walk to the crease, you feel like at some stage you could just stand and hit the first ball for 4. It's not the case, and that's where Chahal was good. It just created an element of something for them to work with and where they could build a little bit of pressure, maybe pick up the second wicket. And I think he's got to have the thick skin of, listen, if I go out of the ground, everyone else is going out the ground now. I'm here to try and pick up wickets. And we saw his best performance there, 5 for 18 last year. He has to have that kind of mindset, and then I think he can do a good job for them.
Absolutely. And, we wouldn't be surprised if we end up seeing Hasaranga dishing out his Neymar celebration, because if Delhi have lots of chinks in their armour, at least based upon the first 4 games that we've seen, but one of them being their record against leg spinners. In the first 4 matches that Delhi has played so far, they've lost 11 wickets in total to leg spinners, Ravi Bishnoi, Rashid Khan, Chahal, Piyush Chawla, wreaking havoc against them.
No, absolutely. And in fact, if you look at it, I mean, right now, Rashid Khan, Chahal are at the top of their game, But even Piyush, the wily old cricketer, I mean, coming back and giving that performance, Mumbai really needed it. And that's what I'm saying, that when you're not... See, leg spinners can go because, control in a leg spinner is more difficult. But leg spinners also give you breakthroughs because, as any cricketer would tell you, the number of wickets leg spinners get off bad balls is not funny because, you just tend to miss it a lot. And so that's one of the things about them, that they're not batting with freedom. They're trying suddenly to sort of go into escape route, trying to get out of situations, and they're hitting it to the fielders.
Well, one thing to notice too about the leg spinners, we talk about leg spinners, and when you think leg spin, you think turning away from the right-handers. We're discussing this off air too. There's been a change of mindset from a lot of these leg spinners, particularly the guys who bowl. Someone like a Rashid Khan, Bishnu, Chahal, who was the other one we saw?
Chawla, even Chawla as well.
Chawla.
Yeah, they're all looking
Against
to do
Mumbai.
this little googly, a little on the angle, slightly wider, get it come back.
Yeah.
And we saw how many times the stumps have been knocked over.
Yeah.
And it's similar to a mindset of a fast bowler. Like I used to open the bowling and try and shape it away up front, even in the 2020s, try and find the edge, try and bring the slips into play. But as soon as you offered up too much width and someone was good at hitting through the offside, I always know, okay, change of plan, look to nip it back.
Yeah.
And that's what the leg spinners are doing these days. The old days, we'll try and turn it away and whatever. They were not giving them room for their hands to work with anymore, to go over extra cover. We're going to tuck them up, And it's been a trend that I've noticed over the last thing. So as the viewers, watch for that.
Absolutely. And I think Delhi's batters will have to watch for that as well. But Delhi, of course, bowling first in this encounter at the Chinnaswamy. And we'll take a look at their starting 11. David Warner, Mitchell Marsh, I beg your pardon, back from his wedding. Manish Pandey, Yash Dhol, Lalit Yadav, Aman Khan. The other change, Akshar Patel, Abhishek Purell, Mustafizur Rahman, Kuldeep Yadav, Andik Nokia, and you expect Prithvi Shaw to be on the impact list, and then he'll come in the second innings when Delhi does bat. But overall, Joy, balanced squad. Good news, Mitch Marsh coming in.
Look, Mitch Marsh coming in is definitely good news to them because, he's just been in absolutely fabulous form, and his being away, not for Delhi, but for his country, and, and he can give them a couple of overs with the ball as well. The question here only is that Mustafizur and the bowlers have to do it. Aman Khan has to do it because they tried Khalil Ahmed and Khalil Ahmed just didn't give them enough. So they need more from their bowlers, because if their bowlers can allow them to get a 170, 180 total, then they're in play. And I think the problem is if you're 0-5 down, if the other team goes and gets 210, 220, then it just becomes huge amount of pressure for you. It's like a knockout game.
I think when you chase on that ground, if you know what the score is and you feel like you can just bat normally, then they're able to really acquire it easy. And that's been the problem for them. David Warner's been batting under pressure. His strike rate's not impressive this year. He's got lots of runs, but his strike rate's not overly impressive. And the reason why is because he keeps looking down the other end and saying, I've got no one else getting runs down there. I have to bat for a long period of time. And you can see, look at that strike rate. There's nothing to write home about, but on the left-hand side, look at the runs. Plenty. But he, as I say, at the other end, it's been hard work for him. So if they bowl them out relatively or do a good job of protecting under 200, as Joyce says, and you got now Mitchell Marsh back, you can kind of say, okay, well, we can leave it a little bit later. We can bat. The substitute Prithvi Shaw comes in. It looks a little bit more like they can do it. But I think if they have to chase, they would have been concerned because you lose early wickets again and they go, what do we do now? Warner thinks to himself, what do I do now? So I think winning the toss and bowling first makes sense. And I think it's going to take a little bit of pressure off that batting lineup as well.
There's one other interesting thing I want to say, that somewhere Ricky Ponting has had this discussion in the dressing room saying, how many batsmen is enough? And saying, you guys need to do it. So if you see, they've got Nokia and Mustafizur. There was a lot of talk about bolstering the batting up and giving one more batter there. And, playing a Russo as well or a Rovman Powell and then saying they do it there. But what they're trying to say is that we just want to have really good bowling. So Mustafizur, Nokia, Mitch Marsh, Akshar Patel, Kuldeep Yadav, that makes a really potent attack. And I
Right.
think right now, what Ricky Ponting is also telling his team is, you guys take responsibility. If you 6 batters can't do it, if you 6, and now it's literally 7 thanks to the impact substitute. If you 7 batters can't do it, 8 are not going to do it.
Absolutely.
You guys got to deliver for us.
But that could
Absolutely,
also be part of the thing is the substitute, this impact substitute. Now, all of a sudden, in the old days, the top 6 had to take responsibility. Now, when your mindset, when you go in the dressing room, you think, oh, well, we're going to get an extra batter brought in for the chase. So you start to maybe not think I have to be as responsible. So they could actually be playing on their minds a bit as well. And I think there will be a talk like, hey, how many more do you want us? Do you want us to pick us 11 batters to try and get the score? No, you guys have been picked to do the job. You've been paid to do the job. Come on, deliver.
Exactly. In fact, a record, or perhaps like a dubious distinction, is that David Warner has yet to hit a 6 in the tournament so far, which is something we don't typically associate with David Warner. We spoke about the batting woes, but something that compounds their problems is the fact that their spinners, primarily Akshar Patel, Kuldeep Yadav, they still haven't come to the party. Akshar has had a couple of knocks with the bat, but when it comes to the ball, neither of them having picked up too many wickets. I think Kuldeep Yadav, he just picked up 2 wickets so far this season. Akshar Patel having picked up just 1 wicket. And so if Delhi are to have to come back in this tournament, come back in this match, like they'll have to rely upon the spinners.
Yeah, those are shocking figures. They're shocking figures for bowlers of that quality, and especially Delhi itself as a ground also, it's supposed to be very useful to spinners. This year the surface doesn't look like a very helpful one for spinners, but it cannot happen. Piyush Chawla can't come to your can't come and take 3 wickets while you guys, current India players, Kuldeep Yadav, Akshar Patel, you just are not getting the job done. They have to come to the party. And it's interesting that, I think Akshar is just, the other team is putting them under pressure, so Akshar is just darting them in. But the truth of it is that Akshar actually used to get his wickets also darting them in. He gets wickets by people trying to force him. So I don't know what's happening out here, but yes, you're absolutely right. If those two don't come to the party at some point, I mean, those two and the top order bat, if these people don't perform their roles, Delhi is doomed.
That sometimes runs on the board too. When you're the spinners, you have to have the pressure of people having to chase a big score and having to go hard at you. If they're not under pressure with regards to run rate required, they can just knock you around, and that's when you don't pick up wickets.
And it's going to be all the more important for them to come to the party against a team like Bangalore, because based upon the last few matches that we've seen, Faf as well as Virat Kohli, they've gotten Bangalore off to a flyer. But then you've seen spinners actually putting the brake on the acceleration in the middle overs. And so Delhi can definitely hurt Bangalore there.
Yeah, and I think they could throw the ball to Akshar in the first 6 as well, just to change it up. It's not an easy place to bowl, but there are very few bowlers who can bowl in that first 6 as spinners. But he's one of the guys who can. He's one of the guys who can. Bring him in early, bring Kuldeep in moment the 6th is over, just put pressure, change things around a bit. The big problem for Delhi is that other people have done the changing, other people have innovated on them. They haven't really changed their tactics. They've been relatively inflexible. And I think at some point in time, they need to do the running now. They're the ones who are most desperate. And that's, I think, important for them.
Absolutely. And Bangalore, of course, will be banking on their openers, Faf as well as Virat, to get them off to a flying start like they have been doing so far this season. Polly, when you've got a duo like Faf du Plessis and Virat Kohli, there's not much else that you can ask for. But of course, you will be banking on your middle order as well. But it's imperative that they give a strong start to Bangalore when batting first.
Yeah, I think the only thing you've got to be disappointed is the fact that they've produced like they have, but haven't won as many games as they probably should have. But we always touch on the fact that top 3, if you get your top 3 firing in a tournament, you often do well. And to have those two at the top of the order, having partnerships like they've done, contributions in their first few games, that's really good signs for them. And if they can just keep stringing some wins together, we've had Maxwell start to find some form in the last game, his 6 hitting abilities coming through again. I think they're in a good position, but it's, as I say, it needs to reflect confidence from the way you're batting, but confidence in winning games, and then it all permeates. I mean, if we think of the history of RCB, I mean, they've probably had the 5 of the best batters of all time
if you
play for them.
Remember the same year?
Yeah.
There was one picture I saw, and it's incredible, Shane Watson, KL Rahul, A.B. de Villiers, Chris Gayle, Virat Kohli. Can you imagine a better
And now throw Faf in there.
Yeah. That kind of batting in the top 5. Those 5 used to bat literally together in 2016.
Yeah, and they haven't managed to do a little win.
They didn't win it with that.
Absolutely.
That's why we always go back. What is it? You've got to get your bowling right. However much money you spend, the bowling coach role is the most important.
Only problem is, Paul, you have too many runs. You're an all-rounder. Unfortunately, you can't call yourself just a bowler. You're an all-rounder. So you can't just play for the bowlers out here.
I think Paulie proudly, flies the bowling flag as well as the batting flag. Yeah. The one complaint that you might have against Virat Kohli and Faf Co, although they have been in prolific form, is the fact that they sometimes slow down. This is something we alluded to a few minutes back. They slow down in the middle overs, despite the fact that they've given their team a flying start. Is that something they should be wary of? Perhaps continue accelerating as opposed to slowing down when you have momentum going for you.
Look, it's not easy to keep going at the same momentum, and the moment the field drops back, it's not. Definitely things change. I think one side you have to bat with a certain sense of urgency. And I think that sense of urgency really depends again on what you think your bowlers can defend. And I think that's the crucial part of it. If they probably thought that if we keep getting 200, we'll win. If they realize that 200 is not cutting it, then you have to change your plans.
Yeah, I think scoring rate too, there's different if you bat first or bat second. If you bat first, you have to try and be conscious of working out what a good score is, and that's the challenge. Batting second, with the experience they've got, whatever you've got to chase, whether they go slow or whatever, they know what they're leaving to be able to get over the line and what has to be done in the last few overs. It's just the batting first where it's a bit of a conundrum. Should we stay or go? And that's sometimes the challenge in those middle overs is like, what's the right rate to go at?
Yeah.
It's very interesting he's saying that because one of his teammates used to be the one in KKR who used to tell us. So Jacques Kallis used to open a lot for KKR. And the moment he'd get out, or if he was still in there, the first strategy break or the first drink went out, he'd tell the bench immediately, this is a 180 wicket or a 160 wicket or a 200 wicket. What happens is, and you think, how does it matter? You could get more or less. Immediately that bench, the entire dugout can calibrate how you can, how much you're going to score. So he had that thing. And all KKR's successful times, he was the one telling, this is the wicket, this is how much this wicket is worth.
Yeah, that was actually something we introduced in South African setup. Even from Bob Wilmer's times, he was actually the guy who did it. There was always something. So we'd get a drink out of after 5 overs or after 10 overs, get it to the batters. Communication. You need to work out what's a good score and what sort of surface it is, and then that communication comes back. Because that just settles people down. Because you can't work it out. Only until you get out there, often you're like, oh no, it's stopping, or it's doing this, or it's doing that. From the side, it doesn't always seem as clear.
And who knows, if and when either of Virat Kohli or Faf Co does get dismissed in this match, on the way out when Glenn Maxwell might be walking in, they might tell him, this is how the surface is behaving. And speaking of Maxwell, he fired in the contest against Lucknow 59 of just 29 balls, a strike rate over 200. And so he's definitely going to be providing that firepower in the middle order. It's good.
It's good to see him going, and especially when Maxwell's hitting sixes, the way Maxwell is a devastating player against spinners as well. He's probably one of the best players to spin who's not from the subcontinent. And just if he's in form, it lends a very different, look to that. When he's tentative, it's a very different team altogether. So Maxwell being in form is a really important thing to them, and I think he's there. And by the way, Paulie, thank you. Now I know how this whole Jacques Kallis, this whole thing came about. Because it's something that I've always wondered about, because it was a fantastic thing. It started from Woolmer's times. So getting back to Maxwell, also Maxwell is a confidence player. When he's there, when he's up, it's not just him who's up, it's the entire dressing room that's up, because he's like a character. He's there, he's all over the place. And he gives you a spark because you have solidity with somebody like Faf. Faf is solid. Virat is intense. Okay, but Maxwell is like really a cracker in the dressing room if he's going. So it's important for them to get that going. And good seasons happen with happy dressing rooms and dressing rooms who are having fun together. You lose. Every team loses. But getting through those losses is about how well knit you are as a unit. And Maxwell on song is really a great person to get people together. Absolutely. He's a bit of a maverick, isn't he? Yeah, it permeates. The attitude permeates around the dressing room, and it's important. And he's also, Joy talks about his attitude when he gets to the crease. It's always ultra positive. So if he's firing, that ultra positiveness tends to permeate around the change room massively. Absolutely. We'll take a look at the impact subs. And we can come up with our hypotheses, our conjecture as it pertains to what the strategy is going to be. So Bangalore batting first, Suyash Prabhudesai, David Bully, Akashdeep, Karan Sharma, Anuj Rawat. Joy? I don't understand it. As I said, I'm fine with them because they're going to bat second. They're going to bat first. So
Bat first, bowl second. Karan Sharma might
Karan
come.
Sharma might come in second. They want a 7th bowler. I mean, they already have a lot of bowlers.
Also explain to me, if you've got 4 internationals, why would David Willey be on
The
that
only
list?
reason is because the impact players is also, we were thinking about this today, is also you can only choose from the impact players for your substitute fielders. So in case one of your international players goes down,
He can come on field.
he come on field.
Okay, makes sense, yeah.
Yeah. And for Delhi, if we take a look at the list again.
Prithvi Shaw, we don't
Prithvi
even have
Shaw,
to
right?
look.
We don't have
We
to
don't
take
have
a
to
look.
look.
There you go. Prithvi Shaw.
Pravin Dubey?
No, I mean, they'll give Prithvi a run. Look, they'll live and die with Prithvi. I mean, given the kind of player he is, the upside, potential upside he has, they'll live and die with him.
Yeah. Joy, we missed you dearly on our sets yesterday. We had you virtually, but today we'll be seeing Joy virtually, and we have him physically as well. We can't be asking for more. I called your smile beaming and infectious, and now I'm seeing that in person as well. Joy, I think you can do the honors.
Okay, which cricketer has scored only one one-day international century, but it was not for his test on national team? And if the wording sounds interesting, it's because it is very indicative. Read that question.
So
Very.
he can play for Ireland and England.
Is that Polly giving us hints?
I'll not say anything. I am not going to say.
Joy's neither going to confirm nor deny.
Exactly. I am exactly like the CIA.
But
right now.
I love the smile that Joy has on his face in person as well as in that picture that we saw. I can't tell if it's like a genuine smile or is he just like gloating over misfortune. Like a sadistic smile.
He brings no joy to the equation when I'm trying to answer
Only
his
when I'm,
question.
But I think this one is a genuine smile. This one.
Beautiful. Another guessing game, of course, on our cards. We'll keep a tradition. We'll close the show with the prediction game that we have. Delhi won the toss. They're bowling first. Bangalore batting first. How much you see Bangalore putting on the board in the first innings? Chinnaswamy day game.
I'm going to say Delhi is going to bowl well today and 178.
178.
I'm going 207.
Ooh.
207. So you've left like a fair bit of ground for me in the middle, and that's exactly where I'm just going to slot right in. I'll go with 193. 193. So 171. Was it, Joy?
172.
178. 207.
172, 207.
207, and I'll go with 193. But you as well should let us know what your predictions are. That's a wrap. Thank you so much, Joy, for being present physically as well, especially on this very auspicious day of Shubho Nobo Borsho. Thanks as always to Polly. A big thank you to you, Shubho Nobo Borsho to you. And please join us again at the end of the 10 over mark for Cricbuzz Combox. Until then, cheers.
Jaipur via Kota.
कृपया ध्यान आपको अहमदाबाद
दिल्ली में आपका स्वागत
ನಿಲ್ದಾಣದ ಕಡೆಗೆ ಹೊರಟಿರುವರೆ ಚೆನ್ನೈ
Express পরবর্তী স্টেশন নেতাজি ভবন कृपया ध्यान दें